Well, in this video, let us understand how to add UI elements to object repository using Katalon Object Spy utility. Okay, let's go to Katalon Studio. Okay, under object repository, let's create a new folder by name. Okay, so I'm creating this folder to group objects which I'm going to add by using Object Spy into this particular folder, so that we can differentiate from different objects which we have added here. Fine. So in toolbar, you can see this option. This is the Object Spy utility. Click on this. You get a window here like this, and so you can provide application URL from which we would like to we're adding object into object repository, and you can see that list of browser it supports. So basically it supports for Firefox, Chrome, which is new instance of the browser, and active browsers. Fine. So in our case, we would like to add object from this particular web application we have given here, and go to list of browsers. So I select new browsers. Okay, Chrome. Yeah, so you can see that background Chrome browser open with the application, and the red box is highlighting in all the objects, right? So we can add all these objects into object repository. To add that, you should be able to use a keyword. Since I'm using MacBook, that's a capture object keyword which is displaying here. So Alt Q, we can use it. Okay, I can show you that later where we can change this keyword. So you can change if you're working in Windows, or you can change in different keywords based on your comfortance. Okay, so let's go to this particular object and type Alt Q. You can see that now object is added here. Similarly, let's go to navigate to that home page, login page basically, and highlight this, and again Alt Q, so that particular object is added, and again click on Alt Q. That password is added, and this particular button, click on Alt Q. So all these three objects added. So using Object Spy, so that easy to add objects into object repository. So whereas in manually you have to type everything. So basically here we have added all the object into Object Spy. So now before saving this into object repository, you can view that basically what's happening there, right? So this is the object repository information, XPath, attributes, CSS. So you can change the names. Let's say a home. I want to give this home link, and I want to customize this name into email, ID, and only password. Button, I'm fine with that. So like this you can customize, and also you can go to attributes, or you can uncheck and check all this property information. Okay, so 90% definitely you know to do any changes while adding object using Object Spy. The Katalon itself, it captures the proper object property and value information into Object Spy. Thus straight away you can save it. To save it, once objects are added, so click on save button. It'll ask, okay, where should I add these objects into object repository? So I'm going to add this particular folder. So it is selecting all the objects which we have added here. So click OK. Fine. Once that is done, close it. So when you come back to Katalon and see in that particular folder, so all the objects which we recently added has been created, right? Go to each object and verify everything is fine. All fine, all fine. Yeah, so you can notice that by default it's selected XPath. So of course you can go through these property and value information. You can decide whether it should be attribute XPath. So for now, for sake of understanding, I just leave as it is by default. I don't do any changes. Now go to test case. So let's create a test case using those objects which we have created now. Okay. Okay, I've given test case name as all object by Object Spy. Click OK. Okay, Okay, template has created, and straight away I'll go and write steps now. Open browser, navigate to URL, so from this particular folder I'm adding object into actions. Drag this here, and next steps, set text. So I'll repeat the same steps. Next step is click. So you can see that how quickly I'm adding steps. I'm not really thinking because I know the steps which I'm going to perform on this object. Set text as this, password and this, and button as this, right? So set text, I'm giving the email ID, password, and click OK. So last step, close the browser, right? Okay, let's give the URL. Save it. Let's run on Chrome. Brilliant, right? All the steps have executed. So that's it. So it's very simple to add object into object repository using object spy. Very, very user friendly, and you need to add manually. So of course in real time while working with real project, definitely we don't know. So some situation where you have to customize some objects manually and add them. So understanding adding manually will help you. And object spy, of course, if you're working with a big team and big application, object spy, you can plan to add all objects into object repository one shot, and later you can start scripting with your team. So all these are the features to make all these features are given by Katalon Studio to make your life easy while automating web application. So definitely it's going to be helpful. That's all about this video.